Quantitative module B, linear programming. Earlier we did assignment problem. Same numbers of job and machine or employee assigned one-to-one. That is one of the linear programming. And also earlier we talked about briefly transportation method, right? Same number of supplier and customer, how can we match in terms of make cheaper, faster, something like that. That also one of the linear programming. For this class, maybe other instructors don't cover this part, but I cover in case. I will not ask you a final answer, just a formulation. Anyway, we can use, to solve this kind of problem, we can use software, computer programming. But anyway, whatever method we use to solve this problem, we need something, formulation. We will talk about formulation later. So, I will not ask you solve the problem, just formulation. Make it a formula, okay? Linear programming, because resource is limited. If we have enough money, then we don't worry about whatever. We don't care about Black Friday, right?
Right.
Just go anytime, then buy whatever, and whatever price, right? I'm rich, then buy. But because we have limited money, so we always think about how can we buy cheap, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Thanks.
So this linear programming is about that. Because resources are limited, how can we match? Okay? How can we assign? How can we match one by one, something like that. So linear programming is allocating limited resources. The purpose of this linear programming is allocate limited resources to make better, cheaper, faster. There are 5 essential conditions. First, limited resources. If resources abundant, we don't care about, right?
Right.
So first condition is limited resources. And second one, explicit objective about limited resources such. And then this linear programming is single objective programming, single object. If we want to make it cheaper, then objective is try to reduce cost, right? So try to make it cheaper, save cost like that. So minimum cost, minimize cost. If we want to make it better, then we think about quality, right? So better or faster, something like that. But only one object. If we have only one, then use this linear programming. If we have two or more, multiple, then we cannot use this linear programming. If multiple, two or more, like minimize cost and better quality, two or more, then we cannot use this linear programming. Instead, we use goal programming. We call that goal programming. And so linear programming, single objective program, goal programming, multi. Okay. And linearity. You know, y equals 2x like this, or something x, ax. Exponent of the independent variable, x is independent variable, y is dependent variable. If exponent of independent variable, x variable, is one straight line like this. If it's two curve, three curve, and so on, only exponent is one linear, then we can use this linear program. If exponent is two or higher, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it's curve. Then we can use another programming. We call that non-linear programming. Non-linear programming. Here, non-linear programming. And homogeneity. It says there must be homogeneity. That means the product produced on a machine are identical. Whatever. If we produce this one, other machine this machine produce the same. And also the cost for 1, 2, 3, 4, the same. That is homogeneity. And then visibility. One employee, two employees, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a whole number or integer, right? But we cannot say half employee. We cannot divide, right?
Right.
But time, half hour, 1.5, something like that. Time we can divide, right? If we can divide, then we can use something, divide something, then we can use linear programming. If we cannot, only we can use only integer or whole number, then we should use another programming, integer programming. So it's like that. 5 essential conditions. Limited resources, explicit objective, but linear programming is single objective. For programming, multiple. Linearity, it should be a linear, straight line. Exponent is one of the independent variable. If two or higher, non-linear curve, then we should use non-linear programming. And homogeneity, okay, then divisibility. If we can divide something like a half hour, 1.5, 2/3, something like that, then we can use linear programming. If we cannot divide, then we should use integer programming. Troy University doesn't have that kind of course. Course name is management science, or business analytics, something like that. If we have that course, and then if you can take that course, then they handle ball programming, linear, non-linear programming, and integer programming. But we don't have that course. So if you have a chance later, like you go graduate school somewhere, then maybe you have a chance to learn about ball programming, non-linear, and integer. Okay. I told you to solve this problem, linear programming, we can use many methods. The simple method is graphical solving method, and sensitive method, and software, and so on. Whatever method to solve this kind of problem, the basic thing is formulation. So for this class, I will teach only that part. Later, if you have a chance to take management science or advanced course, then they will handle how to solve this problem. I'm not sure. When I worked for other school, that time that school has management science course. So operations management, in this class I teach this, how to make a formulation, and then in that course, management science, I just teach how to solve. So maybe if you take advanced course later, maybe instructor didn't cover how to. So in case later, if you have a chance, then you need this one, okay? There are two parts. Objective function and constraints. Objective function looks like this, and constraint part is this. Okay, let's do this formulation step by step. Example. Certain company, Cycle Trends, produce two bicycle frames. One is deluxe and the other one is professional. And then to be made, you need aluminum and steel resources. And then profit for deluxe is $10, and professional frame is $15 profit. And the number of pounds of each alloy, aluminum or steel, summarize next slide like this. And then supplier delivers 100 pounds of the aluminum alloy and 80 pounds of steel. So available aluminum is 100 pounds and steel 80 pounds. And And then the question is, how many deluxe and professional frames should this company produce each week? Okay. So how many deluxe frame? How many aluminum frame? Professional frame to match, allocate in limited resources. Limited resources. Okay. Limited resources, so we can use linear programming. Okay. Then to produce deluxe frame, 2 pounds of aluminum and 3 pounds of steel. And to produce professional frame, 4 aluminum and 2 pounds of steel alloy. Okay. First step is define the objective. Okay. Objective. Either maximize or minimize. From the question, it says profits are $10 and $15. Profit, more better, less better. More better, right?
Maximize.
So maximize. So this problem's objective is maximize total weekly profit, or simply maximize profit. Maximize total weekly profit, or simply maximize profit. Okay. Then next step, define the decision variables. Decision variables. Usually we denote decision variable as x1, x2, like that. If this is maximize problem, it's maximize problem. What product produce? They are decision variable. So, how many products this company produce? There are 2. So we need 2 decision variables, x1, x2. So decision variable will be x1 and x2. Number of deluxe frames produced weekly. x2, number of professional frames produced weekly. Or just simply x1 equals deluxe frame, x2 equals professional frames. This problem is maximize problem. If this one is minimize problem, maximize problem, then decision variable will be what product. If this is minimize problem, then usually ingredient. We will talk about that later, just to let you know. Okay, this is maximize problem. Produce deluxe and professional frames, right? Profit, maximize, right? Flip over. If this company concerned about cost, then resource or ingredient are aluminum and steel, right? Then use less resource, minimize, right? That case, decision variable will be resources.
Resources.
You know what I mean? So maximize problem, usually decision variables are product.
Minimize.
Minimize
resources.
problem, cost, right? Usually ingredient or resources are decision variables. And write the mathematical objective function. Okay, maximize problem, profit, right? Then profit will be $10 and $15 for each. So objective function will be looks like this. Because this one is maximize problem, so start with max. Z is this case profit. If this is minimize problem, then we concern about cost. Then mean, M-I-N, mean Z. That case Z means cost, right? But for this one, maximize Z means maximize profit equals X1, decision variable, X1 is deluxe frame, right? Produce deluxe frame, one frame, then profit is $10. So one frame, deluxe frame, $10 profit. X2 is professional frame. Produce one and sell $15 profit. Total profit, maximize profit. How many deluxe frame? How many professional match? Allocate. Then how can we maximize profit? Okay. This is objective function. And next, constraint part. Limited resources. Maximize problem, product, objective, right? Then constraint, limited resources, right? Limited resources. What limited resources? Constraint. Write one or two word description of each constraint. Okay, limited resources. For this problem, there are two resources. One is aluminum and steel. So there are two limited resources. So write aluminum available. Availability or available. Steel available or availability. They are limited, right? And next step, write the right hand side of each constraint. Example okay. Constraint part looks like this. Constraint part. Such and something sign, less than, greater than, and so on. From this, we call this side is left side, left hand side. From this side, right hand side. write the right hand side of each constraint. £100 and £80 for aluminum and steel. So 100 limited and 80 limited availability, right? 180 numbers, and write sign less than or something like that. Okay. Receive 100 up to 100. So availability. So we can use up to 100. Left hand side is less than or equal to 100. Availability. So, not always, but usually maximize problem. Constraint part sign is less than or equal to something, because they are limited. Up to that many, that much we can use. Minimize problem, not always, but usually greater than or equal to. We will talk about that later again. Then, write all the decision variables. For this problem, there are two decision variables, x1 and x2. So, write x1 plus x2, x1 and x2. Okay, next, write the coefficient for each decision variable. Okay. To produce deluxe X1, we need 2 aluminum alloy and 3 pounds of the steel alloy. Okay. X1 deluxe frame need 2 aluminum, 3 steel. Go back. X1 need 2 aluminum, 3 steel. X1 need 2 aluminum and 3 steel. Go back. Professional X2 need 4 aluminum, 2 steel. X2 professional need 4 aluminum and 2 steel. Any question? Okay. Complete formulation looks like this. Done. When you take a test, quiz and a final, answer looks like this. So first you need define decision variables, x1 and x2. Then explain what is x1, what is x2. You don't have to write this long. Just x1 deluxe frame, x2 professional frame. That's okay. And then you need objective function. Maximize, max, z equals such.
Or minimize Z.
And then constraint parts starts with subject to. That means constraint. Whatever resource constraint limited looks like this. and then explain. What resource, what resource. And that's it. After finish this formulation, to solve this problem, we can use graphical method, sensitive method, and computer software. We may use Microsoft Excel, then or advanced program, computer program. Ask what is x1, what is x2, then type in numbers, then run, then the program gives you how many x1 and how many x2. To use that kind of computer software, you should know numbers like this. So to use that computer program or a graphical method, whatever method, anyway, you need define numbers. That is formulation. Or if you are top managers, then you ask your employee how many x1 and how many whatever, then they will give you something like this. Then, then they run the program and then gives you how many x1, how many x2. Then you can see, right? What is that? What is that, right? So, this is basic linear programming, okay? The formulation. That's all for chapter quantitative module B. Practice problem is attached. You don't have to solve yourself. I will go over, okay, with you. But anyway, read question first. Read. Okay. The southeast feed, a whole feedlot operation near Montgomery, Alabama. When ingredients to make low-cost feed for its hogs, and oats and corn are the principal ingredients of the hog feed. The one cost for oats and corn are 20 and 15 cents per pound. And requires a minimum of 3,000 mineral units, 4,000 calories, and 2,000 units of vitamins per day for each cup. And each pound of oats supplies 200 mineral, 200 calories, and 100 units of vitamins. Each pound of corn supply 100 mineral, 300 calories, 200 units of vitamins. Then question, define the decision variables and formulate the objective function and constraint function for LP, linear programming. Okay. I made this practice problem step by step. So, what is objective of this problem? Because this one consider low cost, right? So cost lower, the better, minimize. So this problem's objective is minimize cost. I told you earlier, maximize problem objective. Maximize problem, then decision variable is product. Minimize problem, cost minimize, then ingredient or resource. They will be decision variables. So, how many decision variables? Ingredient, oats and corn, right? So there are two ingredients and two decision variables, two. And then they are x1 and x2. There are two, x1, x2, pounds of oats, pounds of corn. Okay, so far. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Then, what is cost of each ingredient? It says 20 cents and 15 cents. X1, 20 cents. X2, 15 cents. Now, we can make objective function like this. Minimize means Z. Z means cost, right? X1 is oats, 20 cents cost. X2 is corn, 15 cents cost. So how many oats, how many corn, then total cost, right? Try to minimize. Now, constraint part. How many constraints?
Mineral, calories, vitamins.
Something requirement. Requirement. Mineral, calorie, and vitamin. There are three constraints. And then they are mineral, calories, and vitamins. The requirement 3,000, it says 3,000, 4,000, and 2,000 daily mineral, daily calorie, daily vitamin requirement. They are constraints. Okay, requirement. That means at least, right? At least. So sign for constraint part will be left hand side should be greater than this many, this many, this many, right?
Yeah.
I told you minimize problem usually, not always, but usually greater than. Because they are requirements. Maximize problem, limited, up to, availability. So less than or equal to. This file is on Blackboard. And then write all decision variables on left hand side. x1, x2, x1, x2, x1, x2. Then coefficient of each decision variable. How many units of mineral are in a pounds of odds? x1, 200. x1 is odds, right? Odds has 200 mineral, 200 calorie, 100. So numbers go like this. And then finally, constraint parts, coefficient of x1, x2, something like this. Then complete form looks like this. Decision variables x1 and x2, because there are two ingredients, oats and corn. So decision variable part, objective function, minimize, mean z equals 20, x1, 15, x2, and constraint part, there are three requirements, limited, mineral, calorie, and vitamins. From oats, 200 unit. From corn, 100 unit of mineral. From oats, 200 unit of calorie and 300 units of calorie from corn. The same. This is answer. What do you think? Is it hard?
What's the answer?
This is the answer.
No, how many pounds are actually needed? Had it, you gonna work it out from there?
No,
I don't think
I,
you know what?
I didn't solve, but if I need, then I can use the
Okay.
computer program and then type in numbers, then it gives you. I will show you maybe next time how many. Any question?
Can you slide back up some though? I'm trying to see something. Each pound supply.
Or
This chart is different from the first. And the same thing, but you just wrote what.
Yeah. Okay.
okay. And next question. The practice problem. This one is maximize problem. Maximize. Maximize problem. Practice yourself. Answer is on Blackboard. So try yourself and then make a final answer like this, okay? Practice. Practice. And also, previous quiz number 5 question is on Blackboard.
This will be quiz number 5.
Quiz number 5 from quantitative module B and E. 2 questions. Answer is looks like this. Okay. I will make quiz number 5 always same question. Change number and some word. So if you can answer like this, then it's okay. Any question? Just understanding what number you need, find. That's all. You don't have to solve. Just formulation, okay? Okay, that's all.